So, something's happened rather interesting. Someone has said something which is making me think. And that's not unusual with my lovely people who comment on my channel, that you're pretty darn smart and fairly cool. And this is actually today, but I haven't updated that one yet, so do apologise if it's not the Thursday 30th. But this will be going out on New Year's Eve because, frankly, I think you're more likely to enjoy a short one on this topic than you are to provide a long patrol, which will be from today's live. So, what was it that said that made me think? Well, it comes back to Martin Peacock. And basically, his comment on the comment response video to the turret one, triple turret discussion, was thinking about it more. So I actually think picking battleships as your starting point for the triple turret was a mistake. I actually think going for a battle cruiser might produce more desirable results. Queen Mary as a testbed for the triple turret and oil fuel probably presents a far lower risk proposition. I get the feeling quite a few people in the Admiralty were unaware of the disadvantage the Admiral was looking at in the battlecruiser department, so experimenting there might produce better results. Putting 3 triples onto Queen Mary in either your all-forward design or a more conventional A, B, and X design should produce a very nice ship. Add in oil firing, again, for a comparison, it would be very interesting to see what you can get. The extra power gained from oil-only firing can either go into a faster ship or a more heavily armoured battlecruiser. Well, this was a rather interesting idea. And for starters, I probably hadn't thought of that because I was tracing back from Agincourt in my research when this came back. So I was thinking in the mold of battleships. But Queen Mary is, of course, a Lion-class vessel. And she's built between 1911 and 1913. And she is armed with 13.5-inch guns in 4 twin mounts. She has 16 single 4-inch guns and 2 21-inch torpedo tubes. She has a belt which is between 9 and 4 inches, depending on where it is. But most importantly, she has a speed of 28 knots and a range of 5,610 nautical miles, which is 10,390 kilometers. Okay. All right. Well, Martin, you made me think, and that was something I really hadn't considered, but you are right. And that might actually suggest I need to go hunting somewhere else, because your logic makes sense going forward and backwards, that if they were going for a one-off with triple turrets, they would look at a battlecruiser first, because that would be a test place to put it, and oil firing. And the fact is there wasn't a test before the Queen Elizabeth came in is a rather interesting prospect in itself, because the RN usually does do a test ship. This is one of my bases of my arguments of believing that Agincourt was an 18-inch gunship and was the test ship for that. So where's the test ship for the oil-powered? Where's the test ship for perhaps a triple turret? Well, that could be a battlecruiser if they were going to go for it, which means I need to go back to Ultimate Dreadnoughts. So to UAD. And here we go. Right then. So it's going to be a custom battle. And to do some design, I'm going to want to be British. I'll go up against the Spanish. And I'll put a battle cruiser up against a couple of heavy cruisers, because that's basically what it's supposed to be as a test. And we'll put it to 1916. And will give us a starting range of 23,000 meters, 23 kilometers. That seems fair. And I'll now design the ship. Okay, what will I go with? This is going to be an interesting one. Now, I am trying this on 60 frames per second, so who knows how well it does. But we've got a Battlecruiser 2. Name, HMS favorite. No, this is going to be Queen Mary. Queen Mary 3. Yeah, that's what she's going to be. And 10,425 kilometers makes sense, but I want to go fast, and I'm going to push up to 30 knots. Let's see if we can't get into 30 knots. And let's see, can we get the trebles in the main guns? I think we can. Oh, yes, we're going for 14-inch trebles because, again, as you can see, no 13.5. Oil. Yep. Standard. I'm going to give her veteran crew because she's going to be a Royal Navy ship. Going to give her that. I'm going to give her geared turbines because that makes sense. I will give her an auxiliary engine because they did have one diesel. And electro-hydraulic steering is what it normally was. Crop free, good torpedo protection, double bubble hull, because I always give them double bubble hulls. I like reinforced bulkheads, but that's a personal preference. That might not be something that they actually put in there. And Citadel, and I might go for a total black armor scheme, because again, I like a total black armor scheme. Right then, I want a main belt of roughly 9 before I even start anything. I want a forward belt of at least 5, because, and actually I'm going to make that 10. And an aft belt of 5. And a main deck of 5. And a foredeck of 2.5. Aft deck of 3. That was the ring. Conning tower, I have absolutely no appreciation for, so down to 2 inches, because frankly, but I'm going to give the superstructure a bit more oomph, so you're going to get 2 for that. Right then, let's see. What weight do we think we're going to be? Well, I think we're probably going to end up about, probably about 35. Let's go for you really being massively powerful. 28,500 is the maximum weight they reckon they can get to. That's fine. And force draft, definitely. And we're up to 12,000 kilometers already, which is way more than she was. 10,470 is fine, and standard amount of bulkheads. So, I want my treble turrets. Now, this is the nice thing. It does give you slots that you can put your treble turrets in. And go, yeah, that works. Now, I think, again, for a battle cruiser, it's problematic. Would I put an all go for an all gun forward, or would I go for 2 forward, 1 aft? I'm going for 2 forward, 1 aft because I'm trying to be conventional. I want a standard superimposed barbette because that's all I really need. And boom, sunline guns and 14-inch again. Those cruisers are not going to have a nice time, are they? Although, if you look at it, there is space. I could probably shift that back. And stick that about there. There you go, I have an all-forward arrangement again. Right, so let's try with the most advanced and prettiest, in my opinion, of the options for this one. Secondary tower. Well, that's just not going to fit, is it? Dang, blast it. Neither is that one. I think I'm going to need to move you forward a bit. As pretty as you are, I think I'm going to need to move you forward. And let's try this one again, because I thought this one might have fitted. No. Rear tower number 5. Yay, you fit! Forward offset weight, 24%, 24.5%. Which is the most funnel capacity? That one. Okay, that's where you go. Full weight offset is now down to 14%. I'm betting if I move that to there, aft off weight is now 12%. That's not what I want. And the ship is overweight. That doesn't surprise me. We're going to need decent barbettes again. And I'm going to want to have enhanced reloading and advanced Royal Navy turrets. I would like them to have the electro-hydraulic turrets. I'm going to go for the hydraulic ones because I'm honest and I'm trying to be conservative. And I'm going to give her acoustics because I want to avoid those torpedoes because I'm evil. I do like to avoid torpedoes. Let's see. Ship is overweight, 4 weight, and she's now at 31,000 tons. Okay, so I'm going to need to look at this ship's weight design. So that's going down to 2. Doesn't take me much off, but does take me a little bit off. And I'm going to need to think about this design. If I took that out. Ooh, 4 weight, 3%. This is an interesting concept for me. I know historically she carried 8 guns. And I know that's historical, but there is something pretty about her with 6 guns. But the 4 weight is 3%, and she's overweight by a chunk. So I'm going to have to take down some of her. So I'm going to take down the belt to 9, give it the same she traditionally had. Take down that to 4.5. Take down that to 4.5. Take down the main deck to 4.5. That down to 2 for the forward deck, and that down to 2 for the aft deck. Conning tower, superstructure down to 1. And she's still 100 tons overweight. That's about right in the armor for the turret. I'm not messing around with that too much. Ooh. She's got all those roughly right. Let's see what happens if I take it down the weight. Woo! That takes her in. And I now got roughly 110 tons to spare for secondaries. What will I do with secondary armament? Well, 6 inches out, but 4 inch. 4 inch trebles are 17 tons. Well, that's just pretty. I'll put you in there. Does double it up on the other side, which is always good. And we're going to want some. We're going to want a medium barbette. That's a tall barbette, but don't need a medium. Don't need that. And halfway offset 1.5%, but that's not really going to worry me too much because her being slightly aft heavy doesn't worry me as much as other things could do. And now she has, well, as you can see, a broadside of 12 4-inch guns and total carrying of 18. Certainly does a good thing. And we want some torpedoes. We do want some torpedoes. Now, I should have torpedoes mounted. And what size should I pick? Oh, I'm now overweight. That's annoying. Largest I can seem to go for these is 19-inch. I'll go for 19-inch and standard torpedoes. But I'm going to have to get rid of you, I'm afraid. You're slightly too much. And I'm still 80 tons now overweight. This is annoying me. Take it down to 18. We've got standard amount of ammo shells. Ooh. For that, I could practically put back... Well, I have another idea, actually, for my secondary guns, which might work actually better for me. Rather than putting them up on that mount, stick in another pair. Okay, so I have to admit, this is a slightly ahistorical because I'm fairly sure they'd have put in a triple turret. But I'm fairly sure they'd have put in a third turret. But they'd have adjusted weight, etc. And she's got torpedoes. But she's also got a top speed of 28 knots. And she is, yeah, actually now bang on. No offset weight. Two big funnels. So she's got lots of energy and engine efficiency, which is nice. Minimum requirement stats, everything looks good. Let's launch and see what happens, shall we? Now, I have to admit, I do think that in the real-life version, they would have made it a third turret and probably would have stuck it aft. But you have limitations in terms of design and size, and yeah, let's see what we can do with this. AI and 30 times speed because I want this thing to be racing. Oh, that looks pretty. That does look pretty. And that, look at that standing. Oh, look at that movement in the water. Oh, that's what I like in this game. I do like this in this game. You can't, it's not getting you quite the same image because it's being done on the poor laptop. Yes, I should have waited till I had the big tower PC set up and working, but well, you are heavy cruisers. There are two of you. This should be a fairly even fight. I've not been particularly cruel to them, and we are in range of them, and this is only a 6-gun ship. But the question is going to be, can she keep them at range at which they can basically do no damage? And let's go see what we're facing. Fly to me, oh pretty. Where are you? Where are you? I'm coming to investigate you. What are you doing? It's fighting. What has this game decided to put me up against? What kind of abomination of Spanish cruisers have you come up with? Oh, they look good. Okay, let's see. What are these pretties? That looks to me like 9-inch guns. I'm guessing 4 of them. Four twin 9-inch guns. It's got some 5-inch guns there as well. Those are fairly good, solid little heavy cruisers. I doubt it has the speed to keep up with me, but I could be wrong. Guns maximum 13.3 kilometer range. Yeah, 24 knot top speed. Okay, yes, I can outpace this, and I should be able to outfight it. Turn to flagship. As you can see, Queen Mary is... Oh, she has been hit. They have disabled one of my 4-inch secondaries. I will get vengeance on thee. I like my little 4-inch secondaries. They're not supposed to fight you. They're for destroyers. There aren't any destroyers for them to bully, so that's just cruel. You didn't need to deal with them at all. Fire, my pretty, fire. Yeah, I think the real design, if they'd done a real one, would have had the 3rd turret. I honestly do, because I think they'd have wanted the 9 guns, and that would have been an advantage of the original design. But the thing is, oil-powered looks pretty much viable on an existing hull design. And yeah, I'd reckon the third turret would have gone aft. Perhaps I should have cut down the armor and had less armor a bit, but I did like the armor. She's cute. Right then. And that was a very interesting match, I have to admit. I did win. I did. I have to say I didn't record at all for this because I thought that would be kind of cheating. Because this is mainly a talkie history channel, not a this is me playing a computer game history channel. And honestly, I was worried that the graphics, if I left them going on for too much longer, would make you upset because it's a poor little laptop. It's a lovely little laptop. It's a lovely little laser laptop, which was very kindly given to me when my laptop had suffered issues, and I have a lot of love for it. But I'm also not going to claim it's designed for that sort of work by any stretch of the imagination. I do need to. Well, I've sorted out a car. Tax bill gets paid in January. Always fun to say. Yes, I have to. You have to pay taxes on things. Yeah, there's always fun. You pay, and then you pay it in January, and then you get a refund hopefully in April. That's how the government seems to work in the UK. And then it's next on my list for that one is get tower sorted out. Either finally buy components or buy a new tower. But leaving that also to one side, battle cruiser. That is an area where a triple turret really does make a big difference because there's a lot of weight savings to have 3 triple turrets and sort out and space savings for 3 triple turrets versus having 4 twins. And in a battle cruiser, space is at a premium because you are pumping everything into firepower and speed. And anything that can give you more firepower for not much more space in terms of deck space is useful because you can structure the rest. You can organize the rest in your hull. So, final option to consider is battle cruiser. And by that I of course mean battle cruiser. It would also explain, if there was something going on, why you get the sort of break in the class. Because yes, the Royal Navy does have a habit of ordering one a year, sort of thing, but if we consider them, Lion is laid down in September 1909. Princess Royal is laid down in 1910. And Queen Mary, which is a sort of improved Lion, is laid down in March 1911. Which sort of would fit if someone was thinking, hang on, we have something else we might want to try here. And remember, she has 42 Yarrow boilers to achieve 75,000 shaft horsepower. Which, when we put it next to the Queen Elizabeth class, they achieve with 24. So, if you could go from 42 to 24 boilers, relatively with oil power because of the greater sustainment of pressure. Imagine what you could achieve with a battlecruiser design in that period. You know, you could have gone, right then, well, just if you've got triple turrets as well and you're taking down the 42 boilers, you wouldn't necessarily go down to 24 on the same horsepower as Queen Elizabeth class had. You probably go down to... I was actually thinking about this. And I decided you'd probably end up with about 30 boilers. And the reason I thought you'd end up with 30 boilers is because you would want to go for 30, 31 knots. And honestly, 30 boilers should get you to there. It should, and I say this, it should, because I then look at the next class. You know, there's HMS Tiger with her lovely 13.5-inch guns. She's another sort of improved vessel. And she has 39 water tube boilers, giving her 85,000 shaft horsepower. Now, she was a mixture of oil sprayed and coal. So she's a combined oil and coal ship. That is HMS Tiger. But the Renown class, which are entirely oil, they have again 42 water tube boilers, but this time they have 112,000 shaft horsepower and are capable of 32 knots. So that is the other option. They keep the full 42 and they go for a much more powerful ship. It's an interesting conundrum to consider, that the obvious solution might be not the traditionally obvious solution. It might be something else. We do know they were doing a lot of design work, the Admiralty, on the battlecruisers. And the battlecruisers tend to, because they can be considered one-offs, let's be honest, Queen Mary, Tiger are both pretty much one-offs. There's the Lion class, but then after that it's basically iterations upon them, improvements. So Martin, thank you for that. I'm sure you've probably done your own work on Spring Sharp. UAD is the system which I have permission to use, so I use it. I'm a very kind people. But honestly, I think the whole thing of this, we've got very much sidetracked by the individual ship designs, but the whole point of view is a triple turret design. And the point is, there seems to be an Armstrong one going around and a Vickers one. I've had now lots of information being discussed about them. And various people coming back and forth going, well, there was definitely a 12-inch, so there might have been a 14-inch. And there was definitely an Armstrong turret, which was being looked at for the Italians. And so there are a lot of instances of triple turrets being involved by British engineers and major British arms firms involved in triple turrets. So there is obviously information there. Now the question is this: are they actually models actually constructed in the UK? I'm starting to I was already, thanks to the photo, fairly certain yes. I wasn't sure when, but were they constructed in this period? Information on the Armstrong one certainly suggests it was, suggests at least one was in the UK. And thanks to the competition between Armstrong and Vickers, that actually adds credence in my mind to the idea that Vickers would have made one. Because those two companies were, how do I use them in phrases which people would understand to this day? Okay, who are the most competitive companies? Yeah. They are like Jeff Bezos and Elon Musk in their space race. That's how diametrically one does something, I've got to do something better. Boom, 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 boom. It drove both to greatness. It's one of the advantages Britain had, is it had Armstrong and Vickers. It didn't have, like in Germany, which was pretty much the Krupp works. And Austria-Hungary had Skoda. Skoda are very good, but they didn't really have to compete with anyone because no one else was really on the same scale or standard as them in Austria-Hungary. So they were competing themselves, but they, and then Krupp. Who else is there really for them to compete with in Germany? There are lots of other names you can bring up, but none really come anywhere near the size and scale and capability of them. But in the UK, you had Armstrong, you had Vickers, and they were both quite large conglomerates. And then you had all these tuning shops as well, like the Ellswick's Ordnance Company and etc. That did all sorts of stuff. So that was the advantage the Royal Navy really did enjoy, infrastructure-wise. So, and I'm going to change this date because it's annoying me. I'm going to say Happy New Year's Eve to everyone who's watching this video. I hope you're having fun. I really do. Where the hell's the zero going? Is it French? Sorry. There you go. But this is going to bug me because it's becoming more and more likely that someone made a conscious decision not to pursue a triple turret. And I want to see their reason why. There are, and there have been many, thanks to, again, the ideas put forward by the people in response to the first two videos, and I'm sure to this one, many of the reasons why not to pursue a third turret, a triple turret. I concede them all. But there are also good reasons to pursue a triple turret. And it would have been a very quick and easy way to, again, efficiently push the firepower levels of the Royal Navy beyond that which the German Navy could have competed with. So maybe what we're looking at is a fundamental misunderstanding of the cost principle of deterrence. It could be that they thought they were keeping to twin turrets because their opponent was, and they didn't want to, they were trying not to escalate. And they didn't need to, therefore. The people who were pursuing triple turrets were the Americans, the Italians, and the Japanese, who they were in a sort of race with, but not really as much a race with because they were outnumbering them in ships. Whereas the Germans were keeping the double turrets, so the British were keeping the double turrets. But I think myself, fundamentally, there is often debate as to at what point the Germans fall out of the naval race, and a naval race becomes no longer a construction race dominated by the construction race between Germany and Navy and the UK, but the technological race between the British, the Americans, the Italians, and the Japanese. That's really who's pushing the naval race, and to an extent the South American nations when they get involved, because whenever they order something big and good. So someone was really stupid, is my theory, because, again, Britain has the infrastructure, they have the mass, and they have the financial support. Again, when people start bringing up the cost arguments to me, I look at them and go, do you realize how big a budget, A, the Royal Navy had in that period, as a proportion of national income or in total amount, and how much the government could quite happily afford to spend and was quite happy to spend when they needed to. And let's be honest, deterrence is a lot cheaper than war. Deterrence is always cheaper than war. If you spend £2 on deterrence and that saves £12 fighting a war, that's an advantage. If you save £1 and cut the spend, if let's say instead of spending £2, you spend £1.50 on deterrence, and you end up fighting a war, well, the war's going to cost you a lot more. £2 a day over 10 days, that's £20. £1.50 for 5 days, that's £7.50. £12 for 5 days, that's £60. Add those two together, you spent £67.50. That's £47.50 you could have spent on something else. And the odds are most of that £47.50 that you could have spent on something else comes from borrowing, which means you're going to be paying it back plus interest for a long time. Deterrence and presence are cheap when compared to actually fighting a war. And there are two components to deterrence. Presence, which demonstrates your reach and ability to be there, and capability, which is your theoretical strength on paper. And that capability, if you're saying, right now I've got battleships which have 12 guns, and 12-gun broadside, to your battleships which have an 8-gun broadside. One of my battleships, two of my battleships have the same broadside firepower capability as 3 of yours. Oh, and by the way, I can build 6 to your every 2 you build. So my 6 battleships will be firing 72 shells at you, while your 2 will be firing 16 at me. And if I lose one, that's an upsetting. It's not something I want to do, but I've still got 5. You lose one, you're gone. You lose both, most likely you will do in that scenario. You're in real trouble. I've so got to get this next book written. It's going to be good if I can get the research done. And that's all going to be thanks to all of you. It comes out of 2021, so I'm going to use it to quickly say this. Thank you everyone for your help and your support. For everyone who watches a video and sees the adverts, thank you to everyone who does super chats or has subscribed to the channel or has become a patron. You are making my research and my work possible. You're causing me fun with the taxman, but it's fun worth having because for the first time in my life, I've got research funding with, well, yes, there are some strings, but let's be honest, as research funding strings go, doing 2 lives, well, 4 lives a month and 4 brew ships and doing some all these videos and having a patron choice, that's really not an onerous strings. I sit there and look at some of the other research funding that some of my colleagues have to deal with in balance, and that can be very restrictive. So, yeah. Every day I thank my lucky stars for all of you. So thank you. Take care.